Long before restaurants, kitchens, or even farming, humans ate whatever they could find. There were no supermarkets waiting around the corner. Every meal had to be found, caught, or dug out of the ground. And most of their food was eaten exactly as nature provided it. Raw meat was tough, chewy, and difficult to break apart. Some plants were bitter, hard, or almost impossible to digest. Yet humans kept searching for something better. Then something changed everything. Humans discovered fire. At first, fire was probably more frightening than useful. It could burn them, spread quickly, and disappear just as suddenly. But eventually, humans learned something incredible. Fire could do more than keep the darkness away. It could transform the food they were eating. And that tiny discovery would change the human story forever. At some point, food accidentally fell into the fire. Nobody knew what would happen next. The smell was completely different. The raw meat had become darker and softer. One brave human decided to taste it. And the result was surprising. The food was easier to chew. It was warmer, softer, and easier to eat. But something even more important was happening. Cooking was changing the food itself. Heat could soften tough plants and meat. It could also destroy many harmful organisms. Suddenly, fire was no longer just protection. It had become a tool. And humans were only beginning to discover what that tool could do. Cooking did something humans desperately needed. It made difficult food much easier to eat. A tough piece of meat became softer under heat. Hard roots became easier to chew. Some foods that were difficult to digest became more useful. That meant humans could get more from each bite. And that mattered when food was hard to find. A little food could provide more usable energy. That gave humans more time and energy to do other things. They could walk farther. They could hunt longer. And they could spend more time caring for each other. Cooking was not just changing their meals. It was slowly changing how humans lived. And the biggest change was still ahead. Once humans understood cooking, fire became something they wanted to keep. They carried burning embers from one place to another. They learned how to feed the flames. And they learned that different foods behaved differently over fire. Some foods became soft. Others became crisp and easier to break. The smell also became impossible to ignore. Soon, cooked food was attracting everyone. And that created something humans had never needed before. A reason to stay together. The fire became a meeting place. Humans could share food, ideas, and experiences. The fire was feeding more than their bodies. It was helping build a stronger group. And that may have been one of fire's greatest gifts. But fire was doing something even more surprising. It was slowly changing what humans could eat. And that could affect the body itself. Cooked food generally takes less effort to chew. It can also make some nutrients easier to access. That meant less energy was spent simply processing food. More energy could go toward movement, toward hunting, toward making tools, and toward caring for their young. Over many generations, these advantages mattered. Cooking may even have helped humans afford bigger brains. A bigger brain needed a lot of energy. And cooking helped humans get more from what they ate. Fire was no longer just changing food, it was helping shape us. As humans became better at cooking, the advantages became harder to ignore. A cooked meal could be easier to eat than the same food raw. That mattered when humans had to travel long distances. Food could be prepared before the journey. Then humans could carry it with them. This gave them more freedom to explore. But fire also brought another powerful advantage. It helped keep dangerous animals away. Suddenly, humans could stay awake after sunset. The night was no longer completely useless. Humans could cook, plan, make tools, and socialize. The fire was extending the day. And that gave humans something incredibly valuable. More time to think. And more time to become something new. At first, cooking may have been an experiment. But humans quickly learned what tasted better. They learned which foods needed more heat. And which ones needed less. They learned to control the flames. They learned to prepare food before cooking it. And eventually, cooking became normal. It was no longer a strange discovery. It had become part of everyday life. And that habit could spread from one generation to another. Children watched adults prepare the fire. They watched food change before their eyes. Then they learned to do it themselves. A simple discovery had become a tradition, and that tradition would follow humans for thousands of years. So why did ancient humans start cooking their food? There probably wasn't one single moment when everyone figured it out. It was likely a long process of discovery. Humans discovered that fire could transform what they ate. It made many foods softer and easier to chew. It could make some nutrients easier to access. And heat could reduce many harmful organisms in food. Cooking also gave humans more energy to spend elsewhere. They could hunt, travel, create tools, and care for their families. The fire also brought people together. And together, humans could share more than food. They could share knowledge. They could share skills. And slowly, fire helped turn scattered humans into stronger communities. One accidental taste of cooked food may have helped change the course of human history.